I think the Switch 2 could be one of the best consoles for the future of Pokemon and obviously like other random franchises and games out there, but for Pokemon specifically, I think we're seeing a bright future for Pokemon on the Switch 2. This is what Scarlet and Violet is going to look like on the Switch 2. And now I know the quality isn't great, that's just because of the downloaded video that I have. I couldn't get a higher resolution video to download for some reason. But set aside like the quality and take a look at just how fluid the game looks. Finally, 60 FPS. Scarlet and Violet went from being probably one of the worst, if not the absolute worst performing Pokemon games of all time to one of the best. Of course, on the Switch 2. Unfortunately, I don't think that the regular Switch is going to be any different, but the Switch 2, Scarlet and Violet looks totally different. You can see how many more Pokemon are spawning around, first of all. The game looks more alive because there are more wild Pokemon that can spawn in the map, which is so awesome. I also see a big difference in like the textures of like the rocks and the grass and the dirt and everything. It looks so much better. Now, tomorrow is the day that the Switch 2 comes out. I'm gonna try to get one. Guys, I don't think I'll be able to get one. I'm gonna try everything I can. You know, I'm gonna try to go to GameStop, Walmart, Target, whatever. I'm gonna try to get one. And hopefully, if I can get one, I would love to do a live stream for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet to show you guys exactly how much better it looks. So make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the post notifications so you don't miss that, because I will be getting a Switch 2 soon, as well as, you know, Mario Kart World. Like, that game looks amazing. I would absolutely love to stream that for you guys. Pokemon Legends ZA is also going to be getting this 60 FPS treatment on the Switch 2. So the Switch 2 is going to be able to run Legends ZA at 60 FPS, I think at 4K if you have it in the docked mode. Handheld mode, I believe, is 1080p, which it's going to look fantastic on the Switch. Here is some gameplay of Legends ZA on the Switch 2, which you can see it's so much more smooth and, like I said earlier, fluid compared to the Legends ZA Switch 1 version, which still looks really good. And now, like I said, I'm going to try to get the Switch 2 so I can play Legends ZA on the Switch 2 as well. And now, if I have to, I guess I'll get it on the Switch 1, but I would love to get the Switch 2. I don't know how hard it's going to be able to find a Switch 2 by the time ZA comes, because thankfully, you know, ZA is coming out in October, so there's still like that 4-month gap of a lot of people trying to be able to get a Switch 2 to be able to play Legends ZA on the Switch 2. And now, going forward with this, I think every single Pokemon game on the Switch 2 and, you know, future consoles are probably going to run at 4K 60 FPS, hopefully handheld mode 4K one day, but for now it's docked mode 4K. This has to be a requirement. And now we're also getting like Pokemon Gale of Darkness and, you know, Coliseum on the GameCube stuff for the Switch 2, which sounds so amazing. Hopefully we get some remakes of the OG Pokemon games. Like, I would love maybe Gen 1 through 4 on the Switch 2 as either like some sort of collection game, like a physical copy. I would pay money, you know, to play those games again on the Switch 2, just like the 3DS with the Virtual Console, or of course, you know, just like digitally downloading them for like $10 a piece online, like on the eShop. I think that would be fantastic, especially since it would really make us play these games over and over again, and, you know, we'd have the Gen 5 remakes coming soon, so I think that's why Generation 1 through 4 makes sense to have on the Switch 2. I just think it's insane that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet literally were the worst performing games of the entire Pokemon history, right? Literally, they ran terribly, and that's why I kind of stopped playing the game. Like, I loved Scarlet and Violet. I really enjoyed my playthrough. I thought the storyline was fun. The gameplay was so fun. But of course, you know, I finished the game, you know, the DLC and all that, but nothing brings me back to the game because every time I play it, it's just so laggy. I did a little bit of shiny hunting on live streams a couple months ago, but it just got too laggy for me to really like fully enjoy. So, bro, you know, when I get that Switch 2 with Scarlet and Violet, I'm going to be shiny hunting a lot because it's going to be so much more fun, especially since so many more Pokemon can spawn. And now with the future Pokemon games, you know, the games that are going to be exclusive to the Switch 2, so probably Generation 10 of Pokemon, which is going to be coming after Legends ZA, is probably going to be a Switch 2 exclusive for the most part. Now, I know I already made a video about this, but this is a new video right here about the Switch 2 Scarlet and Violet gameplay, and there are so many different topics to bring up here, and especially since the Switch 2 is coming out tomorrow, so, you know, there are so many amazing new things that we could truly see with the future of Pokemon and on the Switch 2, even with other games. Now, I think that Generation 10 is probably going to be a bigger game. Definitely has to run at 60 FPS. I mean, maybe one day we'll have 120 FPS, but honestly, 60 FPS is perfect. I don't care to go any higher than that for Pokemon games. Well, 120 FPS is really good for like, you know, games like Call of Duty or like Splatoon actually would be pretty good to have in 120 FPS, but 60 FPS is going to be great. This is the first time a Nintendo console is going to be running at this high of, you know, a frame rate and 4K, which Pokemon Emerald is actually apparently 60 FPS, which I don't even know how that makes sense. Like, how the heck did that run at 60 FPS? But anyways, I know a lot of people are like, why are we celebrating this? You know, Nintendo should have done this years ago. I definitely agree. It's definitely outdated. They should have done this years ago, but I'm going to take what we can get because it's an upgrade. Thankfully, Scarlet and Violet will be a free upgrade from the Switch to the Switch 2. You know, if you plug in your game card, if you have it digitally downloaded, it will be a free upgrade, of course, which is fantastic. I don't think that Legends ZA is going to be a free upgrade, though, so if you have Legends ZA on the Switch 1, and then you eventually do get a Switch 2, I think you're going to have to pay like a $10 fee or something like that to digitally enhance the game, so you get that 60 FPS, which is a little unfortunate because I feel like if we're paying all this money, like you're going to be paying like what, $60, $70 for ZA, then another $500 or whatever for the Switch 2, it should just be a free upgrade, you know, if you have already had it on the Switch 1. I don't know. It's no big deal, though. At least it's like, you know, not 20 bucks. $10 isn't terrible. Like, you know, $10 is not going to really break the bank too much, even though it is unfortunate. What's also interesting is that Central Leaks tweeted this about the Switch 2 Scarlet Violet patch was leaked back in 2023. So this kind of confirms that the console has been delayed several times. So the Switch 2 was probably supposed to come out last year. I think we all kind of knew this already. Like, I think these leaks already came out a couple of months ago, but it's weird to think that the Switch 2 probably was going to originally come out last year in 2024, which kind of would make sense, to be honest, but I'm actually glad that they're waiting because this means, you know, the next Pokemon games are delayed, which is totally fine with me because it's going to be better. Like, I think Generation 10 is seriously going to be a game changer for Pokemon. It's going to be so good looking on the Switch 2 as well because, you know, if they could make Scarlet and Violet already look better, and now, like, I don't think Scarlet and Violet looks amazing on the Switch 2. Like, I don't think that the graphics are still, you know, insanely great, but dude, it's a huge upgrade from what we have on the Switch 1, which obviously Scarlet and Violet were made for the Switch 1, so that's why I think Pokemon Generation 10, or whatever game comes next after ZA for Pokemon that's a Switch 2 exclusive, is truly going to be a very good looking game because the Switch 2 is way more powerful, of course, than, you know, the Switch 1. Obviously, the Switch 2 is still underpowered compared to like modern day specs or classifications that we would want for a handheld console, but it's fine because Nintendo, you know, they never have made like the newest console like with the best specs. They've always made consoles that are kind of behind the times a little bit, but their games make up for it. The Nintendo games are just so fun. They're seriously unmatched. Like, genuinely, Nintendo first-party games are unmatched. I am just stoked, to be honest. Like, I'm excited to play Legends ZA. I'm excited to go back to Scarlet and Violet as well because, you know, there's still things I could do in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. You know, like, I could still do some things that I never got to finish, you know, or just do shiny hunts and just have fun with the game with some of you guys, maybe on live streams. Like, that would just be so awesome. So let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think this is good for the future of Pokemon? Because I definitely do. And, you know, not to sound repetitive, but I'm looking forward to what's to come. Like, what's next for Pokemon that the Switch 2 exclusive games are going to be. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Generation 10, Generation 11, the next Pokemon Legends game, which hopefully is a Gen 2 game. I hope it's a Gen 2 Legends game, to be honest. That would be awesome. Going back to the Johto region. And then, of course, we're going to have the Pokemon Black and White remakes on the Switch 2. Hopefully, Black and White 2 remakes come alongside that, too. I don't really know how they're going to really make that happen, but I guess we'll see. I just really do think that, you know, Game Freak, Nintendo, and Pokemon, they have obviously heard our complaints about Scarlet and Violet and just Pokemon in general, and they are fixing it. Like, this is a big deal for them to actually care enough to upgrade Scarlet and Violet for free on the Switch too, which is obviously going to give them some more sales, so it's in their best interest to do it anyways, because more people are going to be buying Scarlet and Violet to play on the Switch too if they never play on the Switch, because I know definitely a lot of people never played Scarlet and Violet because of the bad reviews it got. Even though, you know, I think it's probably one of the highest selling Pokemon games of all time, there's still a lot of people that didn't play it because it just didn't really have the best reviews of all time. So I don't know, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Are you going to be picking up a Switch 2? Do you already have a Switch 2? And if you are a real one watching this far in the video, comment down below your favorite color. I'm just kind of curious. I like asking you guys these questions, get to know you guys a little bit better. I think right now my favorite color is like dark green, like a nice dark forest green. I also have always liked blue, kind of like a lightish blue. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, turn the post notifications so you don't miss Pokemon news, leaks, updates, or just fun random Pokemon videos. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.